Uh, Part 6 of my book is about the Great White Throne Judgment. What happens at the end of time? We're all going to be there. What's going to happen on that day? And then Part 7 is a whole list of ideas. Basically, what should we do? In light of the fact that the Bible tells us what's coming, what should we do about it? So my book has those 7 appendixes, which is actually most of the book done. So that way a person can pick and choose what particular topic they're interested in, whether it be creation, flood, Daniel's prophecies, etc. Okay. Does that explain it?
Yes, sir. And I got one more question here wasn't it the Roman Catholics that actually, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but it was someone in the Vatican that came up with the idea of evolution, the Big Bang?
Well, the idea has been around for a long time. Even the Greeks taught a form of, crude form of evolution, that the Earth is, really, really old. Or there have been people who taught the Earth goes through cycles and keeps coming back. And I don't think it's anything new. There's nothing new under the sun. Certainly, Catholics have been very involved in pushing the idea of evolution. Mm-hmm. There's a book called the Evolution Handbook. It's 1,000 pages almost, and it's only $5. It's fabulous. That's on drdino.com. I would highly recommend that one if you want just a quick reference. And I think there's a history of how the Catholic Church tied into that. The Catholic Church really started with Constantine in 318 AD. It is certainly not started by Peter, nor is the Catholic Church the rock upon, Peter the rock upon which the church is founded. That's a play on words. It only appears once in the Bible. Jesus said, "Thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church." You're Peter, you're Petros, you're a little pebble, and upon this Petra, this rock, talking about himself, the church is built on Jesus, not on Peter. A few verses after Jesus said, "Thou art Peter, a little rock," he called him the devil. Get thee behind me, Satan. No, the Catholic Church is, and somebody asked earlier about the name Christian, and I have a chart I go through with my guys here when I do Bible study, a timeline. I start with year 0 on the left and draw over to today, 2015, on the right. And I say from the time of Jesus, there was a group of people who were called different names. They were called disciples at first, and then Christian, and then Anabaptist, rebaptizers. And then at about 318 AD, I draw a line up and over to the right to make a little dog leg, a parallel line. And I say in 318, a group of people, also claiming the name Christian, arose. Today they're called the Catholics. They came out of or they didn't come out, they emerged along parallel with the Christians. So now there's 2 groups, both claiming the name Christian. There's those who simply take the Bible as their rule of faith, and then there's those who most people would today call Catholic, Roman Catholic. So they're running parallel, both claiming the name Christian. Then about the year 1500, Martin Luther pops up and says, "I protest, you're doing it wrong," and he nails 95 things they're doing wrong to the door in Wittenberg, Germany. And he started a group called the Protestants, which have split into 30 flavors. We got the Lutheran, the Methodist, etc., Presbyterian, all also claiming the name Christian. So now there are 3 totally different groups, all claiming the name Christian. People say, "Are you Catholic or Protestant?" I say, "I'm neither one. I'm Baptist." The Baptist would claim they are the descendants of the original bunch that only says, "Hey, there's one thing that tells us what to do, the Bible." Where there's nobody in Rome, nobody in Germany, nobody anyplace, no hierarchy. Just simply, what does the Bible say? And every church is independent. Some are even independent from God. I can assure you of that. But they would 3 groups claiming to be Christian. And then you come to the 1800s, and you get a fourth group that comes out. So I have 4 lines, parallel lines on my chart from the 1800s on, saying there's a 4th group now that we would call the cults. That would be the Jehovah's Witness, the Mormons, even the Church of Christ, Baptism Saves You, the Seventh-day Adventists from the Millerites in 1841 era. So there are many groups in that most people would classify as cults. Of course, they all think they're right. There's no question about that. Every group thinks that they're the only one that's right. That's standard. But there are 4 lines parallel now, all claiming the name Christian. So it's a pretty big umbrella. I'm not sure who else going to heaven. That's totally up to God. Salvation is by grace. But the Baptists, I think, are the closest that I can find to the Scriptures and what the original group of disciples would have been. No hierarchy, no pope, nobody telling them what to do. The Catholics say Peter was the first pope, and he was in Rome, and he was never married. Well, it's true the Bible does not mention Peter's wife, but it mentions his wife's mother. Peter's wife's mother was sick of a fever, and Jesus healed her. And like my preacher used to say, a man would be a
This call is from the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office.
A man would be a fool to have a mother-in-law without having a wife. So I would have to agree with my preacher on that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That does it for the Bible questions today, Julie. I hope that your sons get a lot of information from from Kent there. Okay, I'm going to shut this down, Kent. If you could stay on the line, okay?